step by step on how to create a folder and prepare research. The first thing you would do is go to your hard drive and you would right-click or go to the top left where it says New Folder. And here I'm going to type in Jewish Studies. That is what I'll be addressing today. And this folder will accept more than one different article. So now when I click this open, you'll find this is empty. This is exactly what I want. My first topic of interest is the Star of David. Since I already know that, I'm going to create another folder. Hit New Folder, and here I'll put Star of David. This is where I will send all of my research information. I will now go to my search engine. In this case, I use Start Page, and I will type in my topic, the topic being Star of David. I will see many things pop up, but I want to focus on this portion. So I hit Enter, and when I come into the Enter section, I will see Star of David here, and I will also see it right here. You can click on any area. Just for convenience sake, so they have consistency, I will click on Star of David Wikipedia. I want specific this document. It does give me a basic foundation in which to build off of. So now that I've come into the Star of David in the Wikipedia, I need to go to the right top section, Tools, and here I'm going to download as a PDF. I will click on that. I will also click on Download, but I have to send this to a specific location. And the best place for me to send this is to the file that I had folder that I just created. Now you can see I have already started this, so yours would look more or less like this. So I'm not going to go back and save it again. Now the next portion I will do is I will go to that document. I have already started this particular procedure, so I'm just going to walk you through the basics. You'll notice I have 3 files here. You will only have one in your folder. You will have the PDF. And in the PDF, you will have hyphens between each word. You need to remove those. And so now I'm going to click on the document, which is found in the PDF. And here is everything that I'm going to look at. Now the next step is to take this PDF and convert it. So I will hit the word Convert, and I want to take it to Microsoft Word. And I will hit Convert Document. Again, I will select this to make sure it goes the right place. And as you can see, I have already completed that specific document. But otherwise, you would just hit Save, and it would go down into this folder. Going on to the next step. Now, since I have removed the hyphens, your document will look like this. Star of David, and it does not have Wikipedia beside it. I have to type that in manually. I'm going to double click that, and I want to show you several things. Normally your page will not come up with that sidebar, but I want to scroll down through here. But before I do that, I want to view the navigation pane. This is an important asset to working with a document. So as I did, I just said View Navigation Pane. The view that I want is in Pages. Now as I scroll down through this document on the left-hand side, I will see that it's 15 pages long. This is the basic foundation of what this document would look like. But I can't use that for my research and studies. So we're going to take this another step. I'm going to, at this point, come up and say File, Save As, and beside here I'm going to put the word Edited in brackets. That tells me what I have done to this document. So I will now save it. There are several steps that you will have to take in order to clean this document up for research or for me to listen to. So let's start with basic number 1. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here to the bottom of the page, or just click this particular area, the last page, and I'm going to get rid of a lot of this extra stuff that I will not be listening to, nor I won't be looking at it at all. It's just extra stuff that you can run on your personal time, but I don't have any need for it. I need an overview of a topic that gives me the gist of what I'm looking for. So I would say from the word notes, you hit the cursor in front of the word notes, hold your shift key down, and you're going to highlight that all the way to the end of the page. When you have reached the end of the page, you simply hit delete. And now our document is now 9 pages long. But that's not the end of what we need to do. Because I cannot see images when I'm listening to something, I don't need this gallery. So again, I put my cursor in front of the word gallery, hold my shift button down, and I'm going to delete this. I hit delete, and I don't need the miscellaneous. Again, I'm going to be listening to this as an audio. So I want to make this as simple as possible. Now, should we delete the see also? Yes, because I'm not going to want to listen to a list of things at the end of a topic. Now, we've got everything miscombobulated down here at the bottom. You can see it's just absolutely wacko. Well, when did this happen? More than likely when I removed some of this stuff on miscellaneous. So what will we do to fix that? Well, I'm going to show you. Leave that alone and go back up to your first page. There's going to be several adjustments that we're going to make to clean this document up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this Wikipedia. So I just select it and delete. The next thing I do is remove all images along with their titles that are underneath them. So I select it and delete. Selecting and delete should be something you do very easily, but if you don't, simply put your cursor in front and drag, and it highlights and you remove it. So I don't need any of this when listening to the audio interpretation or overview. We're cleaning this document up, and again it's under edited. It's not the original document. You don't touch the original document because I might need it. Now we're seeing a little residue here, so I'll just go backwards instead of forwards, and I'll delete that. If you notice, I don't always drag from the top down. I drag also from the bottom. So when I come in here and now I don't need the miscellaneous and I delete it, you will notice that I'm not having a lot of issues with the alignment. Now again, these are the first steps. Once you delete the images, now you're going to start to prepare the document to be edited. The first thing I would need to do is Control A for select all. I want to come over to the home page, and here is the eraser. But before I do that, I need to go to the layout. The layout will show the word columns. In the word columns, I want to select 1 so that everything goes in one column. Now if you look down through here, that's really broke up the entire document with great gaps between. I will show you how to address those momentarily. Before I continue, I want to go back over to the home, and I notice that there is not any font selected. On these documents, it would always be Times New Roman. Select that, and it will always be 12. Select that. Now, everything's still crazily looked at, but now we're going to come in, we're going to erase all of the information, and I'm going to go back and make sure that this is Times New Roman and 12. When I did that, you can see there's still a lot of gaps everywhere. Now I've got 16 pages to deal with, but we're just now going to start the actual cleaning this up. The next thing I'd want to do is I want to select the bar. You'll see crosshairs there, and delete. I'm going to delete all of these bars down through this image. You need to make sure those crosshairs show up. Sometimes it can be very tedious because it has to be right on the right area. You can see the very large sections that are blank. We're going to correct that. If you set yourself up a system that includes all of these steps, it doesn't matter which order you go in. Just make sure that you get the proper editing done. Now that I've done that portion, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this as the edited version, but I'm not finished with that. Okay, I've just now saved that. Now what else do I need to do? There's an emblem right here, and I need to click on that because I've got to get rid of that space that's between these documents. So as I click on it, you'll see all forms of things highlighted. I need to get rid of this section break. So once again, I put my mouse over there and I hit delete. The section break is gone. Now I know I'm not going to have that big of gaps between these topics, but we can address that now or later. Again, the cursor's at the beginning of that line of the column break. I hit delete. And if you were to look on the left-hand side where the pages are being shown, you can see how this is coming across. Again, we won't need this many, so you can delete them as you go or come back and do it when we get ready to take the next step. Removing all of these section breaks and chapter breaks. And in column breaks. This is cleaning up my document so I can go further. Taking and putting the cursor at the beginning of these lines so we can clean this document up. It will not be near as long as we have it. Always do this step by step, creating first your folder, then going to your topic. Now the reason that we do this is because I won't have time to read every article, and so I need to have the ability to listen to them. And if you've noticed, it went from multiple pages to now we're down to 5. But it will even go smaller than that. So I finished that step of getting rid of those lines. Now I'm going to save again to go on to my next step. This time I will not need this symbol, so I'm going to take it out of my image. The first step that I'm going to do, or the next step I'm going to do, is I'm going to come in and take out the page numbers. So in your left navigation bar, you're going to put the bracket, because I want it to take me to all the brackets. I want to start with page 1. The only thing I am removing is going to be numbers and letters that are in bracket, not words. In order to do this, you put your cursor at the back part of that last bracket, hit backspace twice, and it removes it. Now I'm going to go down to the next one. Again, I put my cursor at the back, hit once, it highlights, hit the second time, it removes it. Now I've got multiple numbers here. I've got to make sure it's at the back. It's going to highlight it for the first backspace, backspace, and you're seeing it being deleted. If I do it this way, I'm not likely to miss any. Make sure you get all of the brackets removed. Sometimes a piece of residue will show up, and there's another one that's like that. And I really think it depends on the spacing in the article. I don't need to know the dynamics, and really you don't either, but just make sure that you get all of the numbers removed. I don't want to be listening to a document and have a number set in the middle of it. I want to be able to go smoothly through it, make sure I'm understanding it. Once we have this portion done, we still have more to accomplish, but eventually this will go into my 11 Labs program for me to be able to listen to the document. Do not do all of the documents that way, only the ones that I tell you I need to get immediately. But clean up all of the documents so when I call for them, it would be very simple to put this into 11 Labs where the audio will read it to me. I'm providing these training tapes to help expedite your learning process. And I am going to take you through step by step, even if it takes a few minutes, so that you get used to seeing this. We will not change the highlighted or the blue underlined words, because those were words that I will possibly look up or have you look up at a later date. If you're wondering how many you have, you can look here. We still have 57. It says 2 of 57. It's because there's one set of words that are embraced in the brackets that I don't want removed. I have a lot of documents that needs to have this process done. So once you get this training down, then let me know you're ready for your set of documents. Don't assume that you know how to do what I'm wanting. That's dangerous. I have a very complex mind, so you can't just jump to conclusions and hope that you got it right. So we are cleaning up the edited version of this Wikipedia document on the Star of David. We can't use this document alone to find out the origin, but this gives me a foundation in which to build off of. When looking at a topic, I want to know where it came from, how it came into society, and the same questions I always ask: who, what, when, where, why, how. This is one I will keep in here for the moment. I'm not sure how it will come into the reading. We're again just focused on the numbers. These numbers associated with the footnotes that you actually deleted in the beginning. Again, when you're listening to this, the last thing you want to hear is a bunch of numbers. It might take you a few times of doing this before you get the process down, but this video will be very informative and helpful in every way. You won't have to second guess what I want. I will not be printing these articles out. I'm just preparing them for the audio. Now this is where the other bracketed word was. So it's come back up to the top, and now I'm going to see if there's another one, and it's that one. So we have an idea now what's going on. Now we haven't finished with this process. We've just removed the footnote numbers. Now that our document is in this particular stage, I need to clean it up a little more. So the first thing I'm going to do is start moving these sentences to be joined together. But I want to take and highlight the word Star of David. I want to make it bold, and I want to make it 14. Now I can hit this A and it will make it the next size up. So now we know that the topic is the Star of David. I also want to underline this. So if you notice, I put a space between the Star of David and the first sentence. Now I'm going to have to bring these words up in order for them to fit better on the line. When you see something like this, when there's a period at the end, you may wonder, do I make another sentence out of this or what? It really varies. To me, I do make another paragraph out of this just because this is a very long paragraph. I wouldn't after this one because it's a very short paragraph, so it's best just to keep in check here. Now you notice that this is a subtopic, but how do I know that? Because now the most important thing is to shut the navigation pane, and in my size, when I says view, I want the size to be 125, strictly because that's a comfortable site for me to do what I'm editing. So I'm going to hit OK. But now the next thing that's important is that I open up the original Star of David document. Now this is the original before we started cleaning it up. But I need to have it open side by side. So I come up here, and on my right hand I see a little Word document, and then I see a blank space. I'm going to put both of these Word documents side by side. Okay, now why am I doing this? Because I'm wanting to see the basic formatting. I knew that the Star of David was the topic and the title, so I wanted it underlined. Not with an exuberantly long line, just to bring attention if I happen to want to look it up. Now going down side by side, I'm looking at the next thing that's underlined is the word roots. So I bold it, and I give it a 14, and I underline it. So bold, underline, and a size 14. Now will I move this up to the roots? And the answer is yes, because it's not really important that those are separated to a great degree. Now you can tell this is a long paragraph, and so since it's a long paragraph, I'm going to just simply put a space between it. And I'm going to go ahead and look at this beside here, and I notice that the next double underlined is use of Jewish emblem. I underline that, I highlight it, hit bold, underline, 14. Okay, again I'll move this up as I go through here, see if there's any other areas that can be moved together. That's one. If on your screen you see this red underline and it's annoying to you, just tell it to add to the dictionary, because it's telling you that's not in the dictionary. Again, that's only if it's annoying to you, because when it goes to my computer, it's going to tell me the same problem, that it's not in my dictionary. So now I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing that that is a paragraph separate. You see the Europe. So I'm going to separate paragraphs. It's showing me where the paragraphs are. Now the other thing that I didn't do yet, and I want to stop and do, is I haven't set up my page. So I'm in the midst of this. I realize, oops, I didn't set it up. So I'm going to go to my layout, select my layout. I'm going to go to margins. In my margins, I see this one. And this is the one that I want. So when I click on it, the entire document will change. Now, that's not all that needs to happen. I need to also insert page numbers. So I hit the word insert, page number. I prefer them at the bottom of the page. And I like to have one of, and if you go down, and when you're doing a document of this type, you want to use the middle. And you will see page 1 of 5. Now, this is pretty good, except it does put the sentence, final sentence, real close to my page number. And I want to address that. So once I have page 1 of 5, I just X out the box and I go, okay, you know what? Let me take this back to my double images and just double check something back up at my Star of David, making sure I have my page breaks correct, or my paragraph breaks. And remember I said something about the one root, and we've got everything lining up. Here's Gershom here. And then we go into use of Jewish emblem. Now somehow I missed, oh, that's because I'm not on the right page. Let me look over here, because it's like, okay. Jewish emblem, and those paragraphs are wrote correctly. Now if you notice, I'm going to still put my cursor at the end of symbol to see whether or not the word became comes up to that line, and it does. Pay very close to that, because sometimes you need to go ahead and bring it up to where it's looking more uniform. And I can see there's several places here that would need to be corrected. You may not think this has anything to do with reading of the document, but it does. And I don't want to get into that at this point. I just want to make sure that we've got this cleaned up in order for us to proceed. So here we have the history of the Jewish usage, bold, underline, 14. Again, I'm going to move this up. And now I'm going to, I'm not going to move this up because there's a bold statement underneath it. So let's keep the space back to where it was. And let's make this bold, but it will not be 14 because it's a subtopic. I notice that the next paragraph is the use, so I've made that available. And when you go up into your screen and you're doing this portion, your page may switch back and forth, so pay attention to what the one you're editing in your original document. Okay, so we're looking at the Kabbalistic use. Simply going to bold that. We did not put 14 at that. It is because it's not the main topic of interest. We kept that at a 12. Now we're looking down here where we have the Shield of David. First paragraph ends at the use of, so we actually can see that we need to move some sentences up. Oh, wrong place. Shield of David is correct. You should try doing these training tapes. It's really interesting. I have to keep my train of thought while I'm showing you what to do. Okay, in the Renaissance, we have that here, and it starts however these Seder, and then according is a section that is separate. So we want to leave that all correctly like that. I am going to move this up 1 because there's a great distance in here. Now, if you look over into this document, you will see that this is indented. And because I might print it out later, I will go ahead and put my cursor at the beginning of Isaac Luria and hit the word tab. And I'm going to just move these over. And in this case, I could actually move this up. Now going on here, our next statement is hexagram. Again, I'm going to see if there's any other words that can be moved above or shifted. Now the Star of David and Israel, which is down here. And we're going to see another section. Now what's unique about this is you'll notice that it's kind of shift our location as to where our words are at. You may have to just go ahead and see what we can do to fix that, or see the alignment's not doing what it needs to. And apparently this didn't quite get the whole announcement, the birth announcement. There was a change, so I'll just go ahead and see if we can do it this way, highlighting it and coming up here to layout and making sure it's this, and let's see if it shifted over some. It lined up. So now I don't have to go through a whole lot of formatting changes. Going back over here, remember this document might end up on the left side or the right side. It just depends. But always look for the one that says edited. Now that we've come to the part, the official usage of Central European communities, again, highlight that, make it bold. We're following the paragraph structure. I think you will appreciate the fact I'm doing this for you, at least showing you how to do it. So I need to have the break in the 1650s. Again, we're shifting things up, making sure that everything fits nice and snug in the document. This may be a long process and listening to it may be exhausting, but you're not going to want to miss a step because I am going through this detailed, and I don't want to have documents coming to me that are incorrect. When you see a big gap like this, there's an issue here. So just highlight that and go back to your home section. Open this up and make sure that it's like select to left alignment. Okay, so let's see. We realize that 1897 is there. So we're going to go ahead and take another closer look. Let's see, what do we have? The year before. Then we have this as indented. We can see that according to the master document. So I want to go ahead and indent it. Make sure that your spacing is correct. We're on page 3 of 5. Aren't you excited? We're moving right along. We have something here that's a big change. It's a double underline. So that would get a point change. I could change the underlining to be double underline, but there's really no need to. It's not going to change a difference in the reading. I'm not concerned about the use in sports, but I'm sure that will come up. So I will just go ahead and prepare it. I might not be interested in it, but people who are interested in sports may be interested. Boxing, other boxers. So we're looking at this again closely. We can actually move this up on this line. Etymology. Etymology is a term that is used saying where a word comes from. So again, that's going to be an underlined with a 14 point. Now I want to take an overview look of my document because there are some things I was not consistent in. So I want to make sure that I've come back and looked at that. So I'll look at a view and I will look at multiple pages. I want to look at consistency of my spacing. So when I had an underlined word, there was a distance between it. And I see I missed one here. So I need to just make that spacing. I'm also looking at how do my paragraphs end. Do they have room for another word or are we okay? If you noticed when it came to just the single, the bold type, I tried to stay consistent and I didn't because I don't want there to be a space between the bold type and the text. Only when there's double underlines. So now if you look at this document, and you've said, you know what, it looks pretty good to me, then you're ready to hit the word. Oh, one other thing, while I have this open, I'm going to hit the word review, and for my own personal usage, not for yours because you can't do anything about my computer, I'm going to go ahead and just add these words just so it's not annoying to me when I'm reading it. Now, I also want to point out, I didn't remove this, and I'm not going to think about doing that until I get it to the audio version, because I'm not really sure how it's going to read across the page. So this is how you would format a document that comes from Wikipedia. I hope that you've learned something and that you now know what I'm expecting. As you can see, it looks very professional and very clean. Now we're going to go on to the next segment. So this video is concluded.